Hey, welcome. My name is Sean Jones, and I'm the CEO of the iNetrapreneur Network. And today I am really excited because I have a woman who is just dynamic. She's doing so many things to help everyone around her. Diana Hooker is an amazing woman. She is also one of our upcoming expert panelists. Diana, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. I'm really excited to talk to you today.
You know, Diana, you and I were talking, I love to always get to know the person behind the business. So often when we meet somebody for the first time, it's always that, so what do you do? Conversation. And it's very surface level. But I would love to get to know your story leading up to where you're at today.
Okay, well, great. Well, I actually grew up in Southeast Kentucky in the Appalachian Mountains. And when I was growing up, I had a dream that I wanted, to go to college. I wanted to own my own business. I had no idea what it was going to be, and it kind of developed over time. And I tell you that just because I think it's interesting how you can really hone in on your dreams, even at an early age, right? That we know that we want to do something and actually kind of manifest that into reality. And I like to tell this one particular story about when I was in high school. I thought that I was going to be a computer programmer. That was the thing back in the day. And I was on a bowling league. Now you might think these things are totally two separate things, but this is really cool. I was subbing on the league, went to sub. They didn't need me. So I went down the lane and started talking to one of my friends. This gentleman, who I had no idea who he was, sat down with us and started talking to my friend because he knew him. And he was just like, "Oh, you're getting ready to graduate. Where are you going to go to college?" And my friend was like, "I'm not going to go to college. I'm just going to work in the coal mines like my daddy." And the gentleman was like, "Oh, you don't want to do that. I mean, coal mining is, short-lived industry, very dangerous." He's like, "Nope, nope, that's what I'm going to do." He's like, "Well, what about you? What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to go to Cumberland College in Williamsburg, Kentucky, and I'm going to major in computer programming, and I'm going to own my own business." And I had it all mapped out. And he was like, "You should follow your friends. She's got a plan." Well, so happened that this man happened to be the seventh wealthiest man in the state of Kentucky. I had no idea. And he calls me the next day and introduces himself. And he says, "I met you. I was so impressed with you. I would love for you to go to this company and apply for a job, but don't tell him I sent you." Well, I couldn't actually do it because I didn't have my driver's license at the time and couldn't get, to and from work. But then the next year, I actually did go and work for him. And at that time, I knew that I wanted to be an accountant because I had taken accounting classes in high school and loved it, fell in love with the problem solving and the math and just the whole concept. And I ended up working for him in the coal mining offices, assisting other accountants and just totally falling in love with that industry. And that is what I got my degree in. And I did go to Cumberland College. And so that part of my dream was true. Started my own business after working in corporate America for several years. But then I did actually start my own accounting business when I started having children and wanted to be able to have that flexibility to, be a mom and work in and around their schedule.
That's an incredible story. It reminds me of, you never know who you're going to be talking to. It's those random little experiences, those interactions that are just in passing that can oftentimes take us down a path that maybe we didn't really think that was an option or we hadn't considered before. And I love it because you took that opportunity. You didn't know. You just had some conversation in a bowling alley with someone, and look where you're at now.
Exactly. Well, another part of the story that's really kind of neat is that because I was working for him, I knew that he had sponsored several students going to college, that he would pay their tuition. And, but I didn't know what the criteria was for that. And I really hadn't asked him, other than I had not applied for financial aid and I was not going to be able to go immediately the fall after I had graduated high school. And so I had went to him and I'm like, can I continue to work? I'm going to get everything in order. I'll go in January. And he said, if you don't go now, you will never go. And you can go to Cumberland College or Union College, which were two colleges that were close in that area. And I had already said since I was 6 years old, I'm going to go to Cumberland College. And so he actually, paid for my tuition, to go. And then after I got there, I got a scholarship. So he only had to pay for 1 year and one summer.
That's incredible. I have to admit, accounting to me is like my Achilles heel. I always have to have professionals manage and tell me what I need to do to set up. But accountants are so critical in any business, whether you're that solopreneur or you're that corporation that has multiple entities. If you don't have someone who loves what they do with numbers and accounting, they can make or break a business. And oftentimes the business owner themselves can hurt their own companies because they don't take advantage, or they think that they read something that should happen through the internet and it turns out that it was outdated information and laws are always changing. So my hat goes off that you're an accountant, because you keep so many businesses on target. Now, there's always a difference between working for corporate America in your industry versus being self-employed and working for yourself. What is your big takeaway? What did you love about working for corporate America? But what is your true passion about working for yourself outside of being a mom and being able to have that flexibility?
You know what? I really found that when I was working in corporate America, it gave me the confidence that I actually learned what I was supposed to while I was in school, or when I was in college.
Mhm.
'Cause when you first come out, you're like, okay, did I actually learn what I was supposed to learn? Yes, I made good grades and all of that, but you still, I don't know, have that fear. And so I was like, oh, I got this. I got this. And I enjoyed working with the people and having different people that I could go to, different colleagues that I could go to within, the industries that I was in. I will say that I still worked with a lot of small upstarting businesses, even when I was working in corporate America. And I just really fell in love with that part of it. My clients now tend to be, small to mid-sized companies that don't necessarily need a full-time accountant, but they definitely need someone to make sure that they are doing the right thing. And my tagline is that I inspire my clients to greatness by allowing them to do what they do best in their industry while I handle their bookkeeping, financial reporting, and their taxes.
That's incredible. Now, with your style, do you teach your clients how they can do certain tasks on their own?
Absolutely. That is like one of my gifts, is that I am a teacher and I like to give
Okay.
as much information as they want. Some don't want to know very much, but I still encourage them to, because in order for you to make the right financial decision, you need to understand what it means, right?
Mhm.
As well as being involved in your business. Now, I do think that you need to do what you're gifted at. And if the accounting piece is not your gift, that's okay. That's where I come in, right? But I do
Right.
want you to understand how the information comes to be and why it's important and how that helps you make the decision that you need to make.
Okay. Do you work with clients strictly in your home state, or do you work with clients in other locations?
I have clients all over the United States.
Okay. When somebody is looking to hire an accountant, maybe you're already working with one, or they're just starting out and they're kind of floundering, where do I go? How do I choose? What are some key questions that businesses should be asking when they're interviewing accountants?
I think that when they're interviewing an accountant, obviously, I mean, it's about the relationship and it's about trust. And that's one of the reasons that, people come to me, because I'm extremely organized, as well as my relatability to the client and understanding their business and their goals and what they want to achieve, like where they're going. So I think when they're interviewing an accountant for, is it going to work for them? Do they mesh? And I know that this is more of like a personal thing versus just the accountant, because there's a lot of people who can do accounting, but how are they going to relate to me? Or how, you know what I mean, as the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
yeah, and I would agree, because accounting is intimate. It is an intimate situation, because you're going into your finances. I mean, that's really, really close. So I completely agree. You have to be able to mesh personality wise and styles. What are those expectations?
right. So trust, right? So you mesh, but you also need to know that you are able to trust them, and that you're on the same page, right? That you're able to talk about, these are my expectations as the business owner, and these are my expectation as the accountant, and what I'm willing to do, and what are you willing to do, and if that's going to work. So it's a big spinning wheel of like, how does that go together? How the puzzle pieces go together.
That's incredible. Now, do you work with companies in a variety of industries, or do you work within a niche industry?
I work in all industries. I find that one goes into another. You know what I mean? Like I may start with one, and I actually like to tell this story. I also like to do the "How did I get here?" part, but we were getting new flooring put into our home, and so I knew that this business had just opened their doors, and that was one of the reasons why we were working with them, is because we knew it was a new business, so we're supporting a new business, right? And I said, you know what, you want to make sure that you're just getting started, that you start off right, and make sure that you have your finances in order, that you've got your bookkeeping and your accounting in the right place, because you don't want to get down the road and go, oh my goodness, I had no idea I was supposed to do that. And then you've got a headache, right? You want to start from the beginning. And he hired me, right? So wow. I started working with him. So it's a flooring company, and I actually see them on a very regular basis. So they wanted to get an industry specific software. So they have the company come in and they do their presentation, and I was a part of the presentation because it's the accounting software that they're going to use, and it's industry specific. So I was a part of that meeting. Well, I got to know the sales rep. That sales rep, contacts me and says, hey, my wife is going to start a interior design business. Can you help her get her business started and work for her? Help her with her accounting. Yes, I can do that. So now I'm doing interior design, right? Or not, I'm not, but I'm working for a business that does that. Then same sales rep decides to start buy a used furniture business. He goes, can you help me with my accounting? Absolutely. So I go in, help get him, and it's an industry specific again, right? So it's not even like I have to work in one particular software. I can learn any software that, that they have that's industry specific. So I started helping him. So now used furniture. Well, he bought the business. The guy he bought the business from has a used car dealership.
So you're just kind of moving around everywhere. I was just
so then he's like, oh, you need to talk to Diana. So that I meet, this guy, and he was just like, yes, can you please come and help me? Absolutely. So you know what I mean? So I can work in any industry,
Wow.
It's not
Diana, what is the name of your accounting firm?
The name of my accounting firm is DLH Financial.
Wonderful. And how can, for businesses, whether they're in your home state or in any other state, how can somebody go about hiring you?
So they can reach out to me. I have a website, dianalhooker.com. And I also have a Facebook page that is Diana Hooker Living Your Greatness. because in addition to doing my accounting, I have found that, when anybody has an experience with me, it's just not accounting. A lot of people will walk out and say, this was not what I was expecting, because I do get to know my clients on a personal level. And so I'm writing a book called Living Your Greatness, but I also do coaching and speaking. So I do like business coaching, and I do.
I love it, Diana. I mean, you really, you can tell that you're passionate about what you do and how you're going about helping your clients. So I want to thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story and, helping all the businesses out there.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed, talking with you today, and I look forward to upcoming events.